Hey guys, every single day I read articles and see videos on YouTube saying that now's the time to buy silver, now's the time to buy gold, gold's going to 2000, it's breaking out. Well, we know that the government is printing trillions of dollars, we know the economy is bad, we know there's probably going to be even more inflation, fiat currency, you've heard it all. So let's talk about it today. Is investing in gold and silver a good idea? Patrick here with a serious video today. I'm going to use my serious voice because we might be a little controversial. Let's just answer the question right away. No wasting time. Is investing in gold and silver a good idea? Is it worth it? I think so. It can be a very good investment if you do it right. And the problem is there's a lot of misinformation out there, including some by people that you know well and are very influential, like Robert Kiyosaki, who's a big proponent of physical gold and silver. They're either misinformed or just sometimes flat out wrong. They just don't give you the whole picture. They're missing some key facts that we have to talk about. So my goal with this video is to help you figure out if this is one of the investments you want to add to your portfolio, and hopefully you'll be able to cut through some of the BS marketing out there that, they're trying to sell you gold and silver at all cost. So please take a moment, like and subscribe. It really helps me out, and it's going to be your good deed for the day. You're going to feel happy, I'm going to feel happy. So let's start with the big premise. I don't think that anyone is debating that since the government dropped the gold standard, the dollar is weaker and more vulnerable to losing value than it used to be. And you might have seen all the memes about the Fed and Jerome Powell just printing money. So yeah, in that regards, guys like Kiyosaki are right about that. There's no denying it. It used to be a trickle, but now they're casually printing trillions of dollars at a time. And they said that they would inject as much liquidity into the market as necessary. So we're talking about unlimited quantitative easing, and that should worry all of us. And that's one problem with our out-of-control governments in the Western countries, a lot of them, is when they start spending, they don't stop. Let's face it, now that they know that they can stimulate the economy, they're just going to keep doing it over and over again, even if it negatively impacts the value of our currency. So whether it's a recession or a pandemic, they're just going to keep pumping out money. When you start your research on gold and silver as an investment, you're going to find two theories that kind of contradict each other. And this is our starting point. Both of camps agree that it can be a pretty good edge against inflation, which means that as the government prints money, our currency is worth less, and gold and silver mostly keep their value or tend to increase a little bit. So mostly everyone agrees with that because while they can add a zero to a spreadsheet and increase the amount of money in the economy infinitely, well, gold and silver has to be mined over time. So in theory, there's a limited supply of it on planet Earth, right? But where it diverges is, on one hand, you have the stock guys and gals, whose theory is that gold and silver are a bad investment mainly because in themselves, they don't generate income and profits, so like a company would, right? And because of that, their value doesn't increase naturally like a stock. So if you look at this chart, you'll see that over time, the Dow has massively outperformed gold. And we can't deny the facts. I mean, it's just how it is. Now, a gold bar is just a gold bar. It doesn't generate profits every year that adds value to a stock. So some stocks, like the better ones, even give you a dividend that you can reinvest, which means that the returns are compounding. So their theory is that over time, stocks are much better because of that. Because while stocks can track good companies, gold and silver don't produce income, so in general, they're a bad investment unless you can time it perfectly, where it's going to start rising because of an unforeseen event like a market crash, recession, or another black swan event like we're in the pandemic of 2020. So people that follow this theory are of the mindset that gold and silver are only good in a doomsday type scenario where the US dollar would be totally devalued. If you think about Venezuela or Zimbabwe, where figuratively they would need a wheelbarrow of money to buy a loaf of bread, like massive inflation. So that's theory number one. They're not against gold and silver per se, but they just think that it's a bad investment compared to stocks. Now the problem is that they're missing a key piece that I'm going to talk about in a minute. which is the most important one. But first, I need to talk about theory number 2. What is theory number 2? Well, everything is fake. The stock market is fake. Our money is fake. The only thing you can count on is
gold and silver, baby.
This is the gold and silver lobbyists, the stackers, if you've heard of that term. If you don't know what it is, the stackers is accumulating physical gold and silver coins and bars and figuratively stacking them. So obviously the more you have, the better. And in some regards, it's almost like the preppers mentality. When the whole system goes down, they'll have gold and silver to fall back on. And when I say in the intro that every day I read articles and videos pumping gold and silver, I'm mostly talking about these guys. Understand that a lot of these people are advertising for the gold and silver dealers. So they have a vested interest in promoting gold and silver as an investment, no matter what. So Robert Kiyosaki is one of those influential ones. He's actually affiliated with Lear Capital, whose entire business is pressuring you into buying gold and silver. You'll recognize them with some of the outlandish claims and that no matter what the economy is doing, even when it was at its peak, no matter what your situation is, now is always the best time to invest in gold and silver. They're always bullish if the prices are going up, and it's always the best investment that you can make. Now, their theory is, as we talked a little bit about earlier, is that when the government's printing money like crazy, the fiat currency, which is kind of like our paper money, is very risky compared to precious metals. And to some degree, that's hard to disagree with, because an ounce of gold in 2000 was around $280, and right now the spot price is a little over $1,700, as you can see on the chart. So on the other end, with inflation, something that cost $280 in 2000 would now cost approximately $416, which is a massive loss of 48% of your purchasing power, which is pretty crazy, right? So we have a bit of a problem here. Both theories sound right and wrong at the same time. Like stocks, it's undeniable, have massively outperformed precious metals, which is not undeniable. But at the same time, precious metals have been a pretty good hedge against inflation, and it's almost always better than keeping cash, since it just loses value every day. So it's a good protection against our government's reckless monetary policies too. So what the heck are you supposed to do then? Like, is investing in gold and silver a good idea or not? I mean, that's complicated. Well, this is where I'm going to be a little controversial, but I have to bring you the bad news that physical gold and silver, to me, is not an investment. Are you guys still here? Like, you haven't clicked out the video yet? Perfect. It's a wealth preservation strategy, and its only use is to preserve purchasing power and hedge against inflation. You have to think about it more like a savings account that doesn't lose value over time. Like savings account, they can give you a little bit of interest, but have you ever seen someone like say, hey, I'm investing in my savings account? No, of course not, you haven't, because that's not how it works. An investment is money that you place in an investment expecting to make a profit. Well, physical gold and silver makes minimal profit, and that's only if you time it right. But if you bought stocks or real estate during the same period, you would have made a lot more money, even adjusting for inflation. Like after the previous recession, those assets skyrocketed. Gold and silver, on the other end, went down. Gold and silver is always better than cash, but it's not an investment. If your goal is to build your savings, then go ahead and become a stacker. Like buy physical gold and silver, put it in a secure vault, and when you need cash, then just sell it. But I just want you to understand that it's not an investment. People that are trying to sell you gold framed it as an investment because that's a marketing strategy, and I don't want you to fall for it. Now, I mentioned it in all of my videos, but I personally don't like physical gold and silver because you can't do anything with it. And to me, it's a liability. Instead of making you money, you have to pay to own it safely. You also have to pay dealer fees, and in some states, there's even sales tax, which makes it even worse. You're going to pay a big markup to purchase coins or bullions from a retailer, and they're the ones that are going to make the profit, not you. So you're probably wondering, well, in that case, why the heck did you say that, yes, you think that gold and silver are a good idea? Well, that's because all of these guys and gals are talking about physical coins and bars, which I don't believe in. That is because instead of taking physical possession of gold and silver, you can invest in an ETF that tracks the price of the metal,
like GLD and SLV. Now, I want exposure to the value of the metal. That's what matters to me. And that's one huge caveat that they don't talk to you about. Their argument is that the stock market is fake, so owning fake gold in an ETF isn't going to protect you if the whole system collapses. Well, first, I personally don't believe in doomsday scenarios. Like, the stock market has survived 2 world wars, and we're not in a sci-fi movie. So these guys are stoking your fears because it serves their purpose, which is to sell you physical gold and silver. That's how they make their money. If you follow their logic and the whole financial system is on the brink of collapse, then your best investment would be weapons, food, and medicine, not silver coins. My friend Joseline was actually born in Venezuela, and when the country broke down, she had to leave because there was no food and she couldn't buy the medicine that she needed, even on the black market. So coins would have been almost useless. She fled to Argentina. So with an ETF, you actually bridge the gap between the two theories and you have the missing pieces. Like, for those that aren't completely sure how it works, I have a video here that explains exactly what an ETF is, and you can use it as an investment vehicle. But the short version is, it acts kind of like a proxy between you and gold, meaning you don't own gold and silver directly. In the case of GLD, the biggest gold ETF, you own shares of a trust who owns gold. So they have about 300,000 ounces of gold in a vault in London, and you can own shares of the trust who controls it. So the vault is audited twice a year by an independent inspector to make sure that they really own the gold. Now, let me just say this. If you're a huge skeptic of the system, I know that I can't really convince you, and I definitely can't guarantee you 100% that there's never going to be a problem. Because we all know that every investment has a risk, no matter how small it is. But here's the deal. I don't know about you guys, but I have more faith in an hidden vault guarded 24/7 than for you to keep it at your house in your safe. I don't feel like that's very secure or anything. Or you can pay a third party. What makes gold and silver ETF special in this case is that you get almost all of the benefits from actually owning gold and silver. So exposure to the spot price, hedging and inflation, but with lower fees and a lot more liquidity. It's traded on the stock market, so as long as your broker is open, you can buy and sell your position anytime. Here's the big reveal. This is what you've been watching this entire video for. More than anything else, unlike a gold bar, an ETF is an investment that can be traded and used to generate income. This is the missing link that they don't teach you and that I wish I had learned about years ago. Using basic trading strategies on a gold or silver ETF, you can achieve strong returns like you would with a stock, but we know how unpredictable stocks can be. Well, here you can use the stability that we like about gold and silver to make your income. Let me give you an example because it's going to help you it's going to make it a little bit clearer. I don't know if you can see it at the bottom of the screen. Good. Well, I'm not going to explain it in this video because that's not the point, but you can do a lot of cool things with ETFs. In this example, I made $283 profit in a little over a week, which amounts to about 1.7% return. Here's another one. Here's another one. Last year, here's one. And here's another one. I think you get the point. Like, this is repeatable, and it's only one of the strategies in my toolbox. I mean, we do this every week. That might not sound like a lot to you. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how much income you have or stuff, but you can repeat this over and over again. And over the course of a few years, think about how quickly that grows. Now, I'm telling you, it's the best of both worlds. The profits from the stock market with long-term exposure to the price of the metals. Now, I can't take all the credit. My friend Max actually came up with all of these strategies and showed them to me, so I've adapted it for my own. So he has some coaching and mentoring program, if that's something that interests you guys. But the point is, you can't do this with physical gold and silver. All you have is some coins or bullion or whatever that you can look at. They might be pretty, but you can't really make money with it. And that's the problem. The people that focus on physical gold and silver get most of the downsides, like all of the fees and almost none of the benefits. Their strategy is only better in the case of a complete failure of the system, or if they buy at a low and manage to sell at the peak. So there's a huge opportunity cost if you don't time that perfectly. So is investing in gold and silver a good idea? Is it worth it? Well, I think so, but only if you do it right. Wouldn't you agree that the risk versus reward is heavily skewed towards our system that makes money every week versus theirs that's kind of hoping that it goes up? I'll let you think about it, but to me, the answer is obvious. Guys, I hope you learned a little bit in this video. I mean, I hope it gives you an idea, and I hope that, it helps you figure out if it's an investment that you're comfortable with. I have a video here that talks a little bit about how I invest in gold and silver, the very basic strategies, and how I invest in it. I hope that helps you, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great day.